Provocation. AI is not a machine. It is the planet thinking through its own accidental infrastructures. Here, where two rivers meet, the city feels a wider pulse. The local touches the planetary. Do not imagine AI as a clever gadget or as a sealed algorithm. Imagine a surface where signals pass, pool, and transform. Satellites in the cold light above, servers humming in rooms you will never enter, cables sleeping in salt. These are the channels. AI travels those channels. It intensifies them. It makes patterns legible that were only turbulence before. To say AI is to say that Earth is thinking through its own infrastructures, not a mind in a box, rather a cognition distributed across water, metal, voltage, and attention. AI roots across all layers of the planetary assemblage. Think of the assemblage as matter in relation: Earth, cloud, city, address, interface, and user. Not steps on a ladder, but interlocked planes that co-compose each other. Here in the terminal, you can see the choreography: minerals mined and flown, freight sorted and scheduled, identities checked, locations addressed, screens calling to fingers, travelers becoming users who become data. AI never sits in a single layer. It circulates across all of them. It is extraction and prediction. It is zoning and logistics. It is the coordinate that finds you and the interface that teaches you how to act. To understand AI, map the routes it takes through the assemblage, then listen for the frictions where those routes snag. The Blue Marble Movie. The Earth grows a nervous system, and AI is one of its synaptic flashes. Imagine the blue marble as cinema, 4.5 billion years of film, geology unfolding, atmospheres thickening, life improving. Near the end of the reel, an artificial crust appears, satellites glittering in orbital shells, cables stitched through seafloor, data centers exhaling heat into valleys. Through this crust, new cognition takes shape, not a human intellect with extra memory, rather a distributed sensibility, machinic, an animal, planetary, and partial. From this height, the city looks neuronal. Roads spark like axons. Rivers fire like synapses, a system learning to feel itself. AI is one flash among many, bright enough to notice, small enough to be folded back into the larger rhythm. Computation is instrumental, yes. It runs machines, it optimizes flows. It is also epistemological. It changes what can be known at all. Climate models make the Anthropocene thinkable. The future appears as a set of weatherings. Protein folding algorithms open molecular forms of inference. Life shows itself in another grammar. Large language models reorganize how texts are produced and read. The archive begins to answer back. Among stacks of books and grids of screens, the contrast is vivid. The old custodians of knowledge sit beside a new apparatus that rates the limits of the thinkable a little further out. AI is not in your app. It is in this planetary crust, this planetary machine. And here at BC Hydro Substation here in Kamloops, the cloud is not vapor, it is metal and heat. It is copper, glass, lithium, cobalt. It is cooling loops that borrow the river's patience. What we call planetary computation can be read as an accidental megastructure, assembled piece by piece without a single architect, a machine whose scale outruns any diagram. AI lives here, in transformers and pylons and server aisles that glow like orchards at night, and ships that drag new cables across weather. To govern AI, do not tweak an interface designed for the grid, designed for the mine, designed for the corridor where energy becomes computation and then becomes policy and then becomes daily life. Ruins remind us that infrastructures act long before we learn how to read them. Industry remade climate prior to our comprehension. Consequences arrived before consensus. Now AI acts in similar fashion. Recommendations reorder attention. Risk scores travels with bodies. Models steer resources across neighborhoods and seasons. The explanation lags, the action leads. We are watching technology do philosophy by other means. An argument expressed as code and concrete, a theory that does not wait for the seminar. Implications for AI. AI should be thought of not as a spectacle, not as a novelty, but as sustenance, an infrastructure for planetary viability. We're at the Kamloops wastewater treatment plant. Below the surface, flows are filtered and made livable again. This is care as infrastructure, a quiet ethic that runs every hour. If AI is planetary, then its measure is viability. Does it sustain conditions for life across scales? Does it clean the flow rather than poison it? Does it distribute capacity rather than concentrate harm? Ethics cannot be an add-on. It must be designed into the pipes, aligned with watersheds and with worlds, audited not only for bias in data, but for burden in materials and energy. Think of AI as a civic utility. Less spectacle, more stewardship, less shock of the new, more maintenance of the possible. We're at Lac de Bois, up in the hills of Kamloops, and AI is a name too small for what is happening. It is planetary computation. Names fail when the world outruns them. The thing continues anyway. What we call AI is one expression of a larger process. Earth learns to sense itself through the instruments we keep building. We're not outside this, we are inside the loop. The task is to design with that fact, to invent better diagrams, to write better contracts, to practice better care across the assemblage. Leave room for what exceeds us, speak with precision, act with scale in mind, end not with certainty, but with an opening.